Hello everybody, I'm Pontius Porcius, and welcome to Unexpected Awesome. When it comes to video games, I'm very much a novice. When I was a young man, when most people were cutting their teeth on video games and challenging themselves on the regular, I satisfied myself with the shareware episode of Doom, Lego Star Wars, and the Flash games that were on the likes of Miniclip whenever I was at the public library. While all of this was generally entertaining, it wasn't particularly making me the best game player. However, about 6 or 7 years back, when I found myself going to university, I discovered the magic of the realm of video game reviews on YouTube, and they had a whole host of suggestions of excellent action games. These include everything from influential masterworks all the way to obscure cult classics. My favorite amongst all of them is Remedy's third-person shooter masterpiece, Max Payne 2. The Fall of Max Payne is probably one of the most concise games I've ever played. In it, you control Max Payne and his possible paramour, the assassin Mona Sachs, as they find themselves stuck in between a gang war between Illuminatis, Russian Bratva, Italian mafiosi, and of course, a private army of hitmen disguised as janitors. There's revelations and tragic twists of fate. I could spoil the story, but really, it's well worth experiencing on your own, especially considering that it has some of the best voice acting and dialogue I've ever heard, including but not limited to insanely funny and genuinely terrifying threats from hitmen voiced by the late brilliant Kevin Conroy, to melancholic rhapsodic waxing by our main protagonist in both his inner monologue and in his sardonic conversations with the other characters, all the way to geniusly placed dialogue Easter eggs in answering machine messages, including possibly one of the most heart-wrenching declarations of newfound love I think I've ever heard in any story. And while it's damn near perfect as a story, it's not so perfect as a game. When it comes to the core mechanics of the game, the actual movement, shooting, and weapon balancing, this game is one of the best that there is. Its movement and gunplay controls being so buttery smooth a toddler could pick them up and master them inside of 10 seconds, yet still find new and engaging ways to duel whole rooms of gunzels into an early trip to Valhalla. Its weapons themselves are especially excellent, having a relatively lean selection of essentially just 8 guns. Each and every one of them can fill a distinctive niche, whether it be higher rate of fire, more powerful shots, more accuracy. Each and every one of them can be an absolute bear slaughterer and in the proper hands, with my 2 favorites being possibly the best version of the striker shotgun in any video game, not in the least of all because it's a very inaccurate version of the striker shotgun where it's loaded like magazine-fed gun with a giant drum mag, and possibly one of the most lethal MP5 is this side of Rainbow Six Siege, where its ACOG scope allows it to be essentially a machine sniper rifle. However, it's really the bullet time mechanics that establish this game's unique identity and is possibly its most consistent flaw in terms of its gameplay. It allows almost every fight to be cinematic, memorable, and a gorgeous spectacle, with the third-person camera allowing you to see Max's body twist and weave through the combat like a leather jacket-wearing snake. However, with the fact that each and every successive execution slows down time further and slows the consumption of the bullet time meter, it effectively turns whole armies of dudes from a massive threat into a collective liabilities for each other, as you can destroy a whole hallway full of opponents and barely even suffer a piece of damage from them. It's only when it gets truly devious with its placement of villains and the power of their weapons that it forces you to not be able to actually chain those together and force yourself to duck around corners to keep from getting ventilated into hundreds of pieces. However, to its credit, this game does manage to add a layer of challenge to the gunfights and sort of the economic management of your capabilities in those gunfights, where all health pickups have to be manually selected and used, and health pickups don't immediately cure what ails you. It takes time for them to remove the damage that's been done to you, with the one annoying exception to that rule being when you pick up more advanced weapons in the middle of a bullet time or a gunfight, you automatically switch to it, even if it has less ammo and it's a massive disadvantage. Although I suspect the designers of this game used that to trick you into getting pulverized in some gunfights in specific sections of this game. As for presentation, the world of this game is moody and stylish and just generally memorable. The rain-soaked, night-blanketed atmosphere of Noir York City is an absolute treat to behold. The only real drawback to the presentation is the graphics haven't aged particularly well. While the game does have absolutely gorgeous and very polished graphic novel-style cutscenes, which are the highlight of the game's story, it also has in-engine cutscenes. While well-directed with a good camera, they ultimately suffer from the game's lack of technical polish in the realm of its graphical fidelity. In the final point in terms of discussion of presentation quality, I'd say the best part about this game's overall technical aspects in terms of how it's witnessed and heard is honestly the audio landscape. Not only is the voice acting excellent and the music moody and emotive, but it's also got arguably the best sound mixing I've heard in any video game. Its mixing, layering, sound effects themselves, and how they sync up with animations is just perfect. From the crunch of broken glass, the sliding snap of a Beretta loading a brand new magazine, all the way to the rustling creak of Max's gorgeous leather jacket. The game sounds beautiful, and it could be imbibed as an audio drama and still be just as satisfying. All in all, Max Payne 2 is one of the best video games I've ever played, and if you're looking for a melancholic dive into the human soul with possibly one of the most beautiful romances you'll ever see in a video game, give Max Payne 2: The Fall of Max Payne a whirl. Stay golden.